Hi, everyone.
Hi everyone, welcome to another book talk for Latinx and Kid Live blog. I am Dora Guzman, one of the contributors, and I'm here with.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sonia Alejandra Rodriguez, and I'm also a contributor for the Latinx and Kid Live blog.
And today we are talking about Vamos, Let's Go Eat, written and illustrated by Raul the Third. Colors were done by Elaine Bay. It is a 2021, so this year's Pura Belpre Award for illustration. And it is a part of a series. So his first book was Vamos, Let's Go to the Market, which I know you wrote a review for our blog, Sonia. And so this is part 2 with Little Lobo, and he is on a mission to deliver food for los luchadores.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I wrote a review for this book. Don't quote me on that. Don't remember doing. I'm pretty sure it's for this book.
It's been a long year.
It's been a long year. But I love this book. I think in my review, I think what I found most impressive about this book was the care for like food vendors, for street food vendors that happens in this book, and I think as I was reading it, I was just very enamored with like the respect that is given to street food vendors, the admiration, and how much street food vendors contribute to building community and culture. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's something that is being passed on, right, to children, right? I mean, in general, just respect for folks, but for folks who are cooking for you, making food, selling food. I thought it was impressive.
Yeah, and that's something that is seen like in multiple countries, right? Not only a lot of these experiences that Raul the Third illustrated reminded me of, going downtown to the plaza, when I go visit Mexico, or even here now that, there's more of a food truck craze, and there are places where you can get you can find a lot of street vendors. You just gotta know where. But I should not have read this before lunchtime. It just got me really hungry and really disappointed in what I had for lunch.
Yeah, what was available to me here.
I mean, it was like everything. I think he captured, and another reason why I loved this book was just the illustrations, right? Not only is the story, Little Lobo is delivering food for his friends, is a big event, but just the details in like the types of food, right? And it's not just elotes, but it's a quesadilla con rajas, right? It's very specific, and very much contributing to a lot of the foods that, are present in Latinx communities.
Yeah, and I even think Little Lobo is he has a delivery service, right? And I think that's how he goes to, there's going to be like a gran lucha libre event, and he goes to get to take the order, right, from the luchadores so he can go pick it up. But even that, what I thought was impressive, as we like considering like this very difficult year that we've had, and the essential workers that were constantly delivering, picking up food, picking up probably more things and delivering more supplies for folks that were staying at home. I thought it was a very important book to have, particularly for this year, right? The people who are delivering, making your food during not just like regular life, but like especially during like difficult times it's important, right, to have respect and care and even admiration for what they do.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about that as I was reading this book, right? Because it came out last year in 2020, so it was like it aligned really well, and along with just that respect for the essential workers, but like also the community that was, I think, in one of the pages where they're in I think it's called the Circle K. It's almost like a mercado, right? So it's a big market, and they're all found in the same location, right? All the vendors are together, and they all know one another. They're all greeting one another. I think la señora who makes the tamales, like she gives Barnabe, which is Little Lobo's dog, a sample of her masa. So it's just, it's like, it's those little moments. It's like, oh wow, they're a community as well, right? Within within that world.
Yeah, and it also reminds me of Where's Waldo?
Yes.
I grew up being obsessed, and I feel like every time I make a new video, I reveal a new obsession. Where's Waldo was one of them, and I got really good at just like turning a page and like finding like Waldo like quickly,
Wow.
and that just became like my party trick. But as I was reading this,
Do you still do that now? Do you still
no,
like?
that
No?
probably not be appropriate. No, well, kind of. There's like a Super Mario game that has like a mini game where you find like the Mario characters, and I'm really good at doing that. But I think it was because of Where's Waldo and books like these that just have so much like information, so much like detail, so many characters, right? And just so many objects and all these like opportunities to find something new that like my mind just kind of like, okay, scan, find, there it is. Right. And I think I was also just very excited about this book because of that reason. I was like, oh my God, there's so much to see, right? There's so much to find.
There's just so much action. There's so much action, and it's done all very purposeful. So it's not overwhelming whatsoever. It's very purposeful, and again, it creates this movement. And again, for it being a picture book, there's also a DVD, right? Which I found through my library, and I did watch it. So it's by Dreamscape, and it does like a read along, and it has the images moving. But even if you didn't have access to the DVD, right, just the amount of details and how purposeful it was, it creates this movement, right, in this still life illustration. I found myself, like you said, looking at it and like laughing by myself because I was just reading it by myself. But like there's very like quirky things in there that I was like, oh, this is hilarious. So there's like a food truck that was like the nada truck. So I was like, oh, like they had nothing, and it was a very sad face. It was like very playful. I forgot another one.
Well, I'm looking at one.
Food trucks.
Yeah, I was about to say all the food trucks have like some sort of like wordplay, right? I'm looking at like Fideo Queen, right? And it's like a crown for the truck. There's like somewhere in here, there's like pulpo pupusas, and the truck is like in an octopus, has an octopus on it, right? There's one that Toro Bull has like the horns. And then I was looking at the sign, right? So yeah, all of like this neighborhood or this community where all these food trucks are, it's called Circle K, right? Like K. But then like the slogan is take it easy, like EZ. I was like, okay, calm down. All right. This is awesome. Yeah, and so if you even now, right, I'm trying to like get distracted to like not just look at the images, but try to like look up, because there's so much like to find in these illustrations, and it's fun, right, and it's joyful, right. It's just, again, I think like a reminder of how important like these spaces are for communities, right, that these peoples that are bringing you food and sharing culture, like just how joyful and how and playful it can be. Oh yeah, I found that truck, the big Nada.
Yeah, that's the one there. I was trying not to laugh, but I was like, oh, that would probably be my truck if, I felt like I was like, oh, that's probably my truck if, like, if I procrastinated. And I was like, oh, I didn't bring anything.
But they're still there, which I think is, again, an important part of the community, right? Like, we all have something to contribute, but even if you feel like you don't, like, you're still invited. Like, you can still be part of Circle K and participate.
Yeah, I love the use of like Spanish and English and even Spanglish within the illustrations, within the, like you said, the big nada, and it just all like flows. Even in the narration, there's use of both languages, and I feel like that's it just captures the experiences of some people who speak both languages, right? But use them interchangeably, and not just solely in one or in the other. But yeah, I find myself laughing. Yeah. He does all his hand lettering is by him, which I read in part of his intro.
Like
obviously he used a lot of ink.
The hand lettering in the illustrations?
Yes, that's all his. And even like the poster, there's a poster, and I tabbed it in the beginning. The poster, the Lucha Libre poster, that's all his lettering. Like lettering. Yeah, and he like signs it at the, he like signs on the side. So even that, I was like, wow. Like I remember I thought I was cool making all these black letters in high school, but I mean, it's like talent.
Yeah. I'm going through it, right? And I'm also just like thinking about like the diversity of food that's represented, right? I just turned to the page where it's kimchi kiosko, right? It's like some sort of fusion food truck. Yeah, I love that.
Korean American food, Korean American tacos.
Yeah. Makes tacos, perfectly combining Mexican and Korean cuisine. I love it.
Yeah. So definitely, again, and even the choice of colors. So Elaine Bay chose the colors. And again, everything just works succinctly, right? You have a combination of very bold colors, right? Just like in that one. And then you have just, they all mesh really well, and they all complement very well for it to be very detailed. So yeah, definitely one of my favorites. I loved Let's Go to the Market as well, right? His first book. And I know he wrote and illustrated other books like Low Riders in Space, and he's won awards on those. Yeah, just his style is really captivating. And I was so excited that he came out with Vamos, Let's Go Eat, because, you know, you can definitely spend such a long time analyzing all of these images, but like really just cracking up, right? And finding the ways that, you know, he threw in all those details.
Yeah, and I was to say, I think just his style throughout is just, and just his body of work is always just very playful, which I appreciate. I like reading books that like are purposefully like joyful, purposefully about play, just throwing all of these details and building community with these characters, right? And it's not like each character has its own narrative developed and explained, but I mean, you can look at like the little character in these markets and just again come up with a story, or sort of just see like what they're contributing, right, to this larger narrative. And again, that like this story would not have been made possible without all of these little characters in there, right? Because I mean, Lil Lobo is going into a community, right? And so even if you're the truck owner of like No Tengo Nada, like that's still an important part because we brought it up, right? Because readers notice, right? And so I think, right, the illustrations speak to so much of just the little things that add up to make a community, right? And that's evident in Plaza K.
Yeah, this was definitely one of my favorites. I can't wait for more of his artwork and just sharing it with kiddos and readers of all ages, like you said. Definitely a great opportunity for not only reading, but also lots of opportunities for writing, right? Writing your own story, illustrating your own story. Just love it.
Yeah. Thanks for taking time to discuss with me. Vamos, Let's Go Eat. It was the 2021 Pura Belpre Award for illustration. Definitely check it out. Click on all the links below in the description box to find out where you can order this book and to learn more about the blog. Thank you, Dora. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.